Hello, this is Chad from School of the American Rifle. Today I'm producing a video in conjunction with AR Build Junkie about AR-15 reaction style rods. I have several different types here. I'm going to start over to the right here. This is my favorite tool out of the multitude that we have here, and I'm going to explain why. But this is the Midwest URR. So this is basically an enhanced version of the Geisley reaction rod. We have the Wheeler Delta series rod. We have the Two Unique LLC barreling spud, very similar to the Midwest URR. Only difference is theirs has a hole in it here, so you can put this rod through it. We have the Real Avid reaction style rod. This is made of aluminum. And then we have a copy here. This is made by Botac, Clee. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Clee Zion. This is a direct copy of the Geisley reaction rod. They both function identically. And then from here we have the Knights Armament AR-15 and AR-25 barreling tool. Then we have again the Clee Zion. This is a copy of the Geisley. This is for large frame ARs, AR-10s, SR-25s. And then finally we have the large version of the Midwest URR. This is the Midwest 308 URR. This is for AR-10 and SR-25 pattern ARs, or large frame ARs. Now in all these types, I'm going to go through some of the cons of some of these designs and the pros to my favorite ones. So number one, we're going to take away the 308 style ones because I don't have any large frame ARs that will fit into the short envelope that we're going to shoot this video. But they serve the same function as some of these. This one is neat because it allows you to use it for the small frame Knights and the large frame guns. They're the only ones that have this design. But anything that applies to these applies to these large frames. So we're going to set those off to the side. First thing, the most popular one is the Geisley reaction rod. The reason I'm not a fan of these is because if you look at the way these function, I'm going to grab an upper receiver here. When this goes through the upper receiver, and assuming we're holding this in a vise, you take the barrel and put it into the upper. I'm doing this so you can see how they interface. This slides into the teeth. This will slide over. People say, well, this locks this rock solid. So when I'm tightening or loosening the barrel nut, or if I'm tightening or loosening the muzzle device, then all the torque is removed from the index pin, which is this little pin here. It's actually not true at all. I have another example right here to show you what can happen with one of these types of tools. So you can see the whole upper receiver is blown out. The reason that happens is if your barrel nut is seized in place, let's say the barrel nut is installed on here and it's locked in, whether it's galled or corroded against the threads, or if it was just over torqued with no type of grease on here, it's locked in place. So when you're trying to move this, what's happening is the whole upper receiver is trying to rotate. Or if you're trying to install it and you're going too much with the torque, you're going too far, you can cause this damage here. You can actually break the pin off, or break the upper receiver, or egg out the notch that's cut into the upper receiver. So I'm not a fan of these. We're going to move over to the vise and I'm going to show you exactly how this all works out with this type of tool. I'm going to grab this in the vise. We're going to put our upper receiver on here, slide it all the way back. Then I'm going to take a barrel that I have that has no index pin on it. No index pin, see? I'm going to slide it into the upper receiver. This is actually the broken upper receiver. Let me swap this out. Put this in here. And I'm going to kick it off to the side so we can see a little bit better. But here's where the index pin would be. I'm going to slide it over. I'm going to grab some light. Alright, so imagine the barrel nut is seized on here. We're going to try to move the barrel nut. So put it on here. I'm just going to visualize us over torquing it just by moving the whole thing. So lots of torque. And look what happens. The whole thing moves. Why does it move? Because it's putting all that force onto the index pin. So now that we have that away, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of other devices. Now, Those things being said, it doesn't mean the reaction rod's a terrible tool. It does allow you to re-index the upper as you're working on things, but you need to stay within the proper torque ranges. So between 30 and 80 foot-pounds is a safe place to be. Now, what I don't like about these other setups, the real Avid is made of aluminum. You can damage these rods, even the ones made of steel. I've broken them before. So I do believe that with hard use, this is going to fail. Light use, it's going to be fine, but I'm not fond of it because it doesn't have a sail on it, and I'll go into that. We have the Delta from Wheeler. This is neat because it has a barrel nut alignment rod, and it also has teeth here that locks the barrel extension in, so this can't slide off. Now, I have run into situations where this won't lock into some barrels, so it's pointless in some designs. What I don't like about this particular design is it's made of aluminum. So again, this thing can break or twist with a decent amount of force being applied to it. But it does have the sail design that I'm fond of. But again, I believe that it should be a little beefier with using steel construction. And then my two favorite setups are the 2 Unique and the Midwest. The reason that I like it is because these work as a gauge. So if you're putting a lot of force, instead of all of that force being put on the index pin, this sail here prevents the upper receiver from rotating. So I'm going to show you using a upper receiver here. This will tell me if this barrel extension is damaged or clocked in some way. So I'll put the tool in, push it all the way forward, and then these teeth will line up with the barrel extension and go home. So we know we're lined up. If you have an upper receiver that has a barrel extension that's not timed properly, this thing will detect it. So we're going to slide this in. You can actually see some damage on the teeth of this one already because it isn't lined up. They're on the edge of each one of the lugs. We're going to drive this tool home, and look, no matter how hard I push, I'm pushing hard with my hand, I cannot get this to seat. This barrel extension is clocked. Now, I haven't removed this to see why. It could be damaged, the index pin could be messed up, or the barrel extension itself could have been machined improperly or timed improperly before the index pin was put in. But we have a problem here with this upper receiver, and this one tool here will prove it out. So that's one of the reasons I like it. It's harder to damage an upper receiver with assembly or disassembly, and this works as a gauge. The 2 Unique works the same way, but it has this rod that you can manufacture and allows you to line up barrel nuts. The pro to this is this runs about $100. This runs almost twice that. So these are all the different types of reaction style rods, and these two are my favorite for the reasons that I showcased in the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching School of the American Rifle. Look for more videos like this on ARBuildJunkie.com.